Good evening. My name is Shane Drahm. I'll be the MC for tonight. I'm the Director of the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander Studies Unit. So we're hosting this event tonight alongside Professor Bronwyn Fredericks, the Pro Vice-Chancellor, Indigenous Engagement. I'd like to thank you all for coming tonight. It's a great turnout. And once we get past the formal proceedings, we'll get to network and mingle and hopefully get around the room and meet a lot of people that you either haven't met or you can catch up with to have a bit of a yarn. Before I proceed with the formal proceedings, I'd like to invite Gaja, Kerry, Charlton to the stage to welcome us to country.
Hi everyone, or Yoa Yuingan. Hello friends. And I like to speak a bit of language just to remind people about who we are and that we are multilingual and bilingual. And so Maramba Burigan, good evening. Maramba Burigan Nyambali. Good evening, everybody. My name is Gaja. It's a language word that denotes eldership and eldership qualities. And I use that because I think that part of coming out of our past is embracing who we are. And speaking our language and knowing our language means we don't have to speak the language that was imposed upon us. It's a personal choice. And I think that Auntie is a equal contemporary version of it. I've had the privilege of doing one Welcome to Country at an amazing event today. And I was just sitting there looking at the flowers, and I've been outside looking at everybody and the decor and all of this, which is showing how far we've come in a short space of time since the university doors were open to us. And I was thinking about my graduation when I did the teaching course over at what is now QUT. At that time it was Brisbane College of Advanced Education, and there were about 24 of us had graduated from our group back in 1988. And we thought it was just fabulous to be able to hire a function room at the social club over on Mowbray Terrace, and had a fantastic graduation. But we certainly didn't have what's here this evening, and mainly because it wasn't available. You know, the floral arrangements are made in native flowers and in our colours, Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander colours, and all of these wonderful gifts and decor. So, you know, in that time, the decade since then, just to watch the rippling out and the diversifying of what is available and what our younger people are going into, I just am very proud, and I certainly teared up a couple of times this morning, hearing things and where we are, and even this evening seeing people. And so I just want to acknowledge all of that first. And my people are the Gurunpul people, one of the tribal groups of Yagara country. And our clan is Jandaran, people of the Ironbark. And one of the things I'll always be grateful for in terms of the studies that I did is it's given me the skills to go out and teach and to write education programs and to do the work that I do today, particularly around family and genealogical research and community and personal histories, and which is helping communities and families to pick up the gaps, you know, from the past. And one of the things that through that process has been finding the story of my ancestors who also worked in the very early days of European arrival as crew with the customs and the pilot crew. They were pilot crew with the customs house. And I think they felt sorry for the Duggos, you know, who came along, all the new white fellas who didn't know how to navigate the bay, and it certainly taught them a lot about coming through the bar and all of the waterways to come upriver. And so, of course, the resistance hadn't started at that time. They were still in a friendly relations period. And so I have been able to trace quite a few of our ancestors, and then once the resistance started, we can then track when we diminished and our people started disappearing from this area. But my great-great-great-grandfather, Giawali, was born in a site, birthing site, which he has identified as near the Botanical Gardens, but where the Brisbane GPO stands. And he was given a king plate or a brass plate, and he lamented until he died that he was given this plate and they took his country, and there was no equity that came from it. And I speak about that because the first UQ first started right nearly a stone's throw from where his birthing site and his spiritual dreaming place was, down there at Gardens Point. And so as our people were being moved and the new constructs were being imposed, they were the last of that generation who had such a significant role in this area and this site were told that they could live their last days out in the area as long as they were good and they would get some rations. And then the next generation, my great-grandfather's generation, were the ones then who were incarcerated onto missions and reserves for the next 50 years. And those old people, though, stayed together, whether they, I'm talking about Yuggera people, but also from the whole southeast Queensland, we've got the records of them and our stories. So we have these wonderful stories of the Yugam people and the Waka old people, Quandamooka people and the Cubby Cubby people, keeping each other strong, but also building and working on the early friendships that had been made. And really, they came through because they worked together, black and white, but also in terms of building reconciliation. And that was a part of a survival strategy. And through all of their work and the efforts of those different groups, this is this is where it's come to. And we now have capacity and ability to be on par or to surpass the old benchmarks. And so being on the RAP as co-chair with the steering committee, and a wonderful privilege with Peter and the whole group, Torres Strait Islander and Indigenous, Aboriginal and non-Indigenous, we can, to see where it can go. And I know that my grandparents, who still held the stories of their old people, and we were told all the stories of the missions and the reserves and everything, but they also said to us, get an education. You will go far if you're educated, and you will have freedom and choice. And they told us to just go for what we felt was our gifts. And so, having said that, I just want to say that I acknowledge the elders in the room here this evening, and elders past, present, and all the young people here who are our emerging leaders. I acknowledge you too. And I acknowledge your families who've got behind you and walked with you. and it is a hard road to get to graduation day. It was for me, but we get there. So I just want to acknowledge the ancestors who walked before us, millions of footprints upon this country, and acknowledge those elders who shared enough and stayed strong during adversity, but kept hope and vision in their hearts to pass on to us. And that's what I come from, I think, aim for the sky and beyond. Don't forget to come back, but... So I like to say, Bibalka, welcome, welcome, Yagara Jarana on Yagara country. Thank you, thank you.
Thank you, Gaja, Kerry. It's been a very long day. For those of you who aren't aware, we launched the UQ Rap early this morning, and you know, for me personally, it's been a significant event over the last 5 or 6 years. And when we started organising this event, we thought, what a great way to top off a day by celebrating some of the awesome students we have. When I first arrived, we only had 200 students, and now we've got 80 students graduating this year, so almost half of our total student cohort only about 5 years ago. So, you know, it's great for me personally and all the staff in the room to be part of their journey and obviously celebrate today or tonight. It is about us being able to present their sash and a small gift so they can wear it with pride and I guess to be part of your celebration. So congratulations in advance. This is the inaugural Indigenous Cultural Sashing Ceremony, for our time anyway, for Peter's, myself, Bronwyn's. I'm sure there were probably events held beforehand, but in our time, it's the first time we've done it, and you know, hopefully we'll kick it off in style and make it bigger and better next year. I'd like to also acknowledge the traditional owners, pay my respects to elders past, present, and what's very fitting, emerging. And as I said, we have some emerging leaders in the room. The next person I want to invite to the stage, I've had the pleasure of getting to know him over the last couple of years. He's the President and Vice-Chancellor of UQ. In those last couple of years, I've been able to gain a good understanding of Peter's motivation to support the Indigenous portfolio. I think it's important that any university, and for our personal interest, for UQ, has a VC that advocates on behalf of our rights and what we're trying to achieve. And I've certainly seen this firsthand and really appreciate it. So I'd now like to invite Peter to come to the stage to say a few words. Thanks, Peter.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Shane. And I would like to, in a very less eloquent way than Gaja, Kerry, just acknowledge the traditional owners of the land upon which we gather and meet and pay our respects to elders past and present. I also want to acknowledge, of course, Gaja, Kerry, with whom I co-chair the development of the RAB. It's great to have you here and have your leadership. I also want to acknowledge Professor Bronwyn Fredericks, our Pro-Vice-Chancellor for Indigenous and engagement. It's great to see your leadership, and for those of you who were fortunate enough to be at the RAP announcement today, I think you could see an enormous organisational talent which really blew the 250 or so people away who were there, and they're already talking about it. So thank you very much, Bronwyn, to you and your staff. And it's also important to note that in addition to myself, there are other members of my senior management group here today. I saw Rong Yu Lee, who's our Deputy Vice-Chancellor External Engagement. I saw our Pro-Vice-Chancellor Tim Dunn, and I haven't checked for the rest, but we're here because we actually do want to be helpful and understand the job at hand. But of course, the most important thing is to congratulate the graduates and also thank all the graduates' families and supporters who are here. As Gaja, Kerry say, it's not something that is particularly easy if you start from a position of disadvantage. It's actually very hard to achieve what you have achieved. And in addition to family and supporters, which you have generated yourself, of course, there's also support at the university through the ATSIS unit, and I also want to thank them. As Shane said, this is our first Sashing Ceremony where it looks so splendid and we do it at scale. We did have a little trial run in July, and because we had 27 graduates in July, and so I think today you will see that some of the early fumbles hopefully will have gone. And I'm just so pleased about the setting you've done. You see, I came to Australia 31 years ago only, and your culture is 65,000 years old. And I grew up with tulips, but these ones look much nicer. So I'm very glad to see that it's a native flora which you have coexisted with for 65,000 years. So that's great. It's a special day to do this, and of course the Reconciliation Action Plan is also special, and I just want to thank the people who have co-developed it, all our Indigenous friends, and indeed students who were an inspiration to me, not only when they were part of our Reconciliation Action Group plan, but I think one of the most important events I went to, I said that this morning, was when Mandy and I went to the Naidak Ball. It was such an eye-opening thing for us to see all that talent, amazing talent, against all odds, amazing talent across the disciplines. And I really think it's important that more people get exposed to that degree of success, because it's almost impossible not to buy into it. So I want to just say to you, it's really important. Of course, we have the rap because there is so much more to do. There is a gap. I mean, we are very, very proud about the progress we're making, but there's much more to do. Our first Indigenous graduate, I think, from what I understand, was Margaret Valadian in 1966. And since that, we've had about 900. And that's a really good number. And there are some really incredible people in there. Dr. Megan Davis, who I think is the first Indigenous woman to sit on a UN board. We have Kev Carmody, that some of you saw today, Jackie Huggins, and Noel Heyman. They've all done incredible things in very different fields. And I think that's very, very important, that capacity building spreads across all the essential fields in society. It will make Indigenous Australians stronger. I'm told that 3.3% of Australia's population identify or could identify as Indigenous, and yet at our university, despite having made progress, we only have 1.3% of our student cohort. So that gap is something we all have to work to close on. And a lot of that work has to be done way before people even think about university. But some of the work that we're doing here, where people can see success, means that more people will aspire. I had a wonderful moment today where I spoke to Kev Carmody's granddaughter, wonderful young person, and she said, I want to be a doctor. And I then saw Tio Nisetan, who I think studied, from memory, physiotherapy first and now is doing medicine. I thought they should meet up. It's much better that you see something that you want to be. You will get there if you can see it. So it was just one of those small moments which meant that, when you get out of bed in the morning, you get out for a good reason. So I thank you for letting the rest of us being part of that. Now, I talked about the gap, but as Shane said, the unit is really doing a great job. Back in 2012, it's not that long ago, we only had 33 graduates. And last year, we had 82. And we will have about 80 again this year. And, you start from a base, you sprint, you take a breather, and then we'll sprint again. And that's what I hope we will do. And I thank you very, very much for that. So now it just remains for me to again thank the graduates for having chosen to put your good years into a UQ education, worked hard. You have added to our strength because of the diversity and insight you're bringing that we don't have. And that is as a very strong contribution to us. But what I hope you will see is that you will now go out and make a very strong contribution to your local communities and the societies that you're in. And I hope that the way that you conduct yourself and your success and your contribution will inspire many, many other Indigenous peoples to get an education. Because it is very important to realise, as Nelson Mandela said, education is the most powerful weapon with which you can change the world. And the other thing is, once you have your education, it's really hard for somebody to take it away from you. Lots of other things can be taken away from you, but not your education and your insight. So, stay in touch. Remember, the world is changing. You graduate very shortly in the next 2 weeks. But these days, you don't really ever graduate. You have to top up your knowledge and give it to your surroundings. That's when you have the best odds of living a great life and giving as much as possible to others. Thank you very much for having us tonight.
Thank you, Peter. I would now like to introduce our next guest speaker, Professor Bronwyn Fredericks. Bronwyn, I think at this point, needs little introduction, but I think I speak on behalf of everyone in saying it's great to have you here, particularly at a time when we launch our RAP, and I think at a time when, because of the launch of the RAP, we need a bit of a mover and shaker, and I think Bronwyn will make things happen. And I think, in the last couple of months already things are starting to happen. So I think we're all excited. I speak on behalf of particularly the staff in the unit or in the PVC office that we're very excited of what's coming. So thank you, Bronwyn, and I'd like to welcome you to the stage.
So hi everyone, and I hope Shane Mover and Shaker, you weren't referring to me taken to the dance floor later. I promised to show people some hip hop moves. So I want to begin first of all, Gaja, thank you Gaja Kerry for your welcome to everyone this evening, and just standing outside this evening as we came in by the river. Just reflecting on how important that river was and how important that river still is and that important that river will be in the future, and the ancestors of this place for where we are now, but southeast Queensland, and the ancestors that we have coming through now for those people of the future, that it all is linked and that the water is part of that linking. And just standing there with you this evening out there and then hearing you tonight, it just reminded me of all that and that cycle that goes on. So thank you for that. We learn constantly, and I constantly learn from Gaja Kerry as well and other people. I wish to acknowledge Peter Hoy, our Vice-Chancellor and President, our other dignitaries that are here from the university, the UQ graduates, family and friends, other distinguished guests, and ladies and gentlemen, everybody, I hope you have felt welcome and you feel welcome. I want to say a few things tonight, some about, the graduates, some a little bit about colleagues, and some a little bit about going forward. For me, in terms of the graduates and the families and friends here tonight, we know that graduates don't get to the end just by themselves. They get there through, yes, perseverance, challenging themselves, putting their alarm clock on, staying in the unit sometimes till late, hanging out at the library and doing the hard yards, but often not on their own all the time. There's family and friends always around them, even sometimes when we think they're not, they're there in some part. And other people get tremendous support from family and friends, and we acknowledge your contributions to the students and to the graduates tonight. As some of you are aware, and Shane had just mentioned that we haven't had this ceremony for some time at UQ, and I want to make mention that the reason we have this ceremony now is because students requested that we bring back that ceremony. So this has come from students themselves, and you'll see things as we move into the future that are either reinstated or rejigged a bit, or fresh and new ideas that have also come from students. So we're really trying to be more responsive to students, but also looking at the strategic vision for UQ and where we think UQ can go, working in partnership with Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander students. Just in terms of the graduates tonight, we heard that there's roughly 80 Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander graduates in 2018, and this includes those that attended the ceremony last time and those that can't attend this ceremony tonight and couldn't last time. There are 16 graduates this year for the Faculty of Business, Economics and Law. There are 6 students from the Faculty of Engineering, Architecture and Information Technology, 19 students from the Faculty of Health and Behavioural Sciences, 14 students from the Faculty of Humanities and Social Sciences, 11 students from the Faculty of Medicine, including 5 students from the Doctor of Medicine. We are graduating 5 medical doctors this year. And 14 students from the Faculty of Science. 27 students graduated at the end of semester 1 and 53 students are graduating in the next fortnight. That's tremendous. That is tremendous effort. Outside this evening before we came in, there was a couple of young women, and I won't name you, but you'll see those individuals coming up. One has just finished pharmacy, and there's only one. One has just finished biomedical science, and there's only one. They're both going on, they tell me, to do medicine, and there's a third one, Courtney. I'll tell her name because I'm not sure what degree she's finished, will be going on to do medicine. So some people we know are graduating this time, and they will continue to be further graduates, as Professor Hoy has said, in the future. So we're seeing a greater uptake of postgrad study as well, which really excites me too in terms of future leadership, not just for Indigenous Australians, but future leadership for all Australians, as Indigenous people take up positions in the workplace. I welcome colleagues here tonight from the Indigenous Engagement Division of the University here tonight and the Engagement Division. These events are a realisation of our collective efforts and the result, in some instances, of many years of dedication and hard work across our teams. Some of our graduates here tonight first met some of the people from the division, first met some of our outreach and engagement staff, maybe in high school, maybe through an Inspire You program, maybe through family members, maybe through attending a school expo or a study expo, or maybe some checking out Google and having a look at what universities offered and then talking to someone over the net. They have gone on to work closely with our student relations and learning support teams through their admission, orientation into university, throughout their studies, and have indeed come to know, in some instances intimately, in terms of seeing one another on a daily or weekly basis, and some not so much, maybe just there to celebrate or acknowledge you from time to time. Our administrative team, our admin team, and people in my office, and I want to honour your contributions as staff tonight in helping support the emerging leaders, and also thank you for your efforts. To our wider university community, industry and philanthropic partners. We also thank you for your critical role you have played and continue to play in supporting students, whether it's through internships, placements, whether it's through scholarships, whether it's through just out there supporting students in terms of encouraging them along in their part-time jobs, other people in the university community that interface with Aboriginal and Torres Strait students every day and every week, every month and every semester through their studies. The university has made extraordinary progress in terms of the numbers of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander students graduating from the university. And I wanted to make a special mention tonight. Where's Joy? There, Joy, right there. I'm going to call you out because Joy told me earlier tonight she graduated from this university 40 years ago. In terms of the gains the university's made, you know, the difference this university would have looked like and been for Aboriginal and Torres Strait students 40 years ago to now, it's the same as what Gaja Kerry just said. Very vastly, very, very, very different. And we will see it continuing to be different in the future. And that's really exciting. That excites me, and I hope it excites and inspires all of you too. To our university and broader community partners, we most sincerely say thank you. And we couldn't have done it without you. Aboriginal and Torres Strait people cannot make this journey alone. We don't exist alone, we're not living alone, and we're not alone even in our families. Many of us have non-Indigenous people in our families, we have non-Indigenous people in our lives. In terms of the university, it is a partnership between Indigenous and non-Indigenous people working together to get all people through the end, to the end of the graduation process. But for Aboriginal students, we need everybody on board to support, assist and cheer. And I will make this point, indigeneity does equal excellence. We don't succeed in spite of, we succeed because of who we are. So those factors that come around nurture and affirm identity and push people along, and certainly push graduates along. And I'll say that again, indigeneity equals and demonstrates excellence every single day. Okay, and we're seeing that on display more and more. Most importantly, but not lastly, I want to thank our students. I want to thank you for your tremendous achievements. Thank you for dreaming big. Thank you for thinking that university was an option. Thank you for being and trying to be the best you can be. Thank you for those hours of hard work and discipline. Tonight is testament to your dedication and commitment. Thank you for being resilient and strong and trusting yourself to overcome any obstacles in your path, but also knowing when to ask for help. Thank you for being you. Thank you for following your dreams. And finally, thank you for being so inspirational to those who will follow. And I'll say the words thank you because you are leaders and you will go on to be the leaders long after we're gone. You will lead those people coming on and be role models for those future people. And I'm thanking you in advance as well for that. I know our current students here tonight will also feel strengthened by your achievements and will cheer and clap and maybe do a few whistles as people walk across the stage to get their sashes. And they will be inspired by your journey too. So, congratulations, graduates. I will try and get to some of the graduation ceremonies. I can't get to all of them. There's a lot of them over the next fortnight, but I will try and be there for some of them. So if I'm not there at yours, please know I'm there probably for somebody else's, but I'm with you in spirit. Thank you, everyone. I hope you all have a wonderful night.
Thank you, Bronwyn. I think as we can see from Peter's and Bronwyn's speeches, there's a lot of support and for the current students. Hopefully that support has helped you through and I think there's more support coming, particularly as I said, we launched our RAP. It's now time to get underway with our Sashing Ceremony. I'll just go through the procedure before we ask Bronwyn and Peter to come up. So students will come up through the centre of the stage, receive your sash from Professor Peter Hoy, and then receive a beautiful Indigenous design gift from Professor Bronwyn Fredericks. We'll then ask you to pose for a photo. You can pose however you want. As Bronwyn said, you might want to wave your arms in the air, and then ask you to go back through the stage. We'll do it in alphabetical order, and I will give a little bit of a bio, so hopefully it's accurate. It's been put together by Rachel and her team, and hopefully it gives a bit of details about the students. So the first student, and Bronwyn hasn't mentioned her name, but partly spoke about her. Yes, sorry. We'll need them to present the gift. So the first student, as Bronwyn has touched on without naming, is graduating from a Bachelor of Biomedical Science. She's an Aboriginal woman and plans on continuing her studies, doing a Doctor of Medicine next year. So she's only going to get a couple of months off, unfortunately. She's very keen to continue to engage and help inspire other students coming to university. And I've been fortunate enough to see this firsthand, trying to inspire the younger fellas to come to uni, particularly through the Inspire You program and working on that. So the first graduate tonight, first off the list, is Gabriella Siolan.
Sorry guys, this is the try. I'll try to do better next time.
Now the pose. The next graduate is graduating from a Masters of Clinical Psychology.
Wow.
His name is Shane Cox. He's an Aboriginal man and plans to continue full-time work with ATSIS Brisbane and working as a psychologist with both adults and children. Please come to stage, Shane.
I'm so glad he's in community control sector. Go there.
Well done, Shane. We have some strong partnerships with ATSIS and work pretty closely with them, so hopefully we'll see you around next year. The next is graduating from a Bachelor of Health Science. She's an Aboriginal woman and plans to continue on to complete her Masters of Public Health and then Medicine. So hopefully we'll get another medical student. Please welcome Lucy Crosby. The next student is graduating from a Bachelor of Psychological Science, honours. It's a Torres Strait woman. Her name is Annika David. Annika currently holds a dual consulting role in professional services firm EY, working in both its people advisory service and the Indigenous sector practice. Currently considering extending her studies to complete a PhD, focusing on the impact of equine activities on disenfranchised youth, resilience and wellbeing. Annika has worked closely with the QFCC as youth champion, playing a key role in collecting and representing the perspectives of young people across the state for Growing Up in Queensland project. Annika is passionate about giving voice to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander young people and is looking forward to continuing to advocate for all Queensland children as a youth champion. Welcome, Annika. The next graduate is graduating from the Doctor of Medicine. She's an Aboriginal woman, and plans for the future are to get through her internship in one piece. Best of luck. We've heard some bad stories. No, just kidding. And then to do the best to help disadvantaged and marginalised communities, either as a general practitioner or an obstetrician or gynaecologist. Please welcome Annabelle de Souza to the stage.
Rhonda, were you a UQ graduate? I want to also say, with this beautiful woman who's graduating, that her mother over there, Rhonda Kelly, who I've known for I don't know how many years, decades and decades, is also a UQ alumnus. So sometimes we are now getting second generation graduates, which is phenomenal and fantastic.
You can't do that.
Thank you.
I'll just say. The next graduate is graduating from a Bachelor of Social Science, Torres Strait woman. Amanata plans to continue studying at UQ next year to undertake a Master of Public Health. Amy is the first Indigenous representative on the South Pacific Islander Association for UQ. Please welcome Amanata Diop.
And her mother was the first Torres Strait.
Yes, she won the UQ Alumnus Award recently. Her mother also a alumnus of the university.
Another one.
Now the next two are brother and sister.
So special.
On my list, so technically Carl should be first alphabetically, but we have offered ladies before gentlemen. So Victoria is a Torres Strait Islander woman. She's graduating from a Bachelor of Physiotherapy with honours. I believe first class honours. Has secured a graduate position in Hobart with Medibank Private, working in community aged care. She aims to pursue specialisation and obtain academic titling in gerontology or neurology. Please welcome Victoria Francia. We will have photos at the end as well, so the brother and sister can have a photo. So next is the brother, Carl, also graduating from a Bachelor of Physiotherapy honours. Carl will be working as a graduate physiotherapist at the Prince Charles Hospital next year. Please welcome Carl to the stage. The next student is graduating from a Bachelor, and it's fantastic to see another female, Indigenous female, graduating from engineering with honours. We have a strategy for women in engineering, so it's great to see Murray graduating from engineering. Electrical engineering, I believe. Anna has secured a graduate position in Sydney as an electrical engineer with British Aerospace Engineering. That is fantastic. Anna Holland, if you can come to the stage. The next student, which Bronwyn mentioned earlier, is graduating from a Bachelor of Biomedical Science and will be moving into the Doctor of Medicine program in a couple of months again, and aspires to work in a rural community sometime in the future. I'd please like to welcome Courtney Houston to the stage. Next on the list is Zoe King. Zoe's graduating with a Bachelor of Speech Pathology honours and is intending to work in the paediatric area, hopefully within the local Brisbane community. Please welcome Zoe King. Next we have Casey Leskorak. Casey is graduating with a Bachelor of Nursing, is an Aboriginal woman and has been offered a place at the graduate program at the Princess Alexandra Hospital Emergency Department. That's fantastic. Next we have mother and daughter. And again, technically it's out of order with alphabetical order. but we've gone with the daughter first. So first, I'd like to call Elizabeth Mortimer, who's graduating from a Bachelor of Biomedical Science. He's an Aboriginal who will be moving in to the Doctor of Medicine program next year. Sorry, typo, pharmacy.
I hope this photo forever.
And now Mum's turn. So Cheryl Mortimer is graduating with a Graduate Diploma of Education and plans to continue working for the Department of Education after securing the Pearl Duncan Scholarship, and hopes to commence a Masters of Philosophy mid-next year on the topic of brain development and behaviour. That's awesome. Congratulations. Next, I'd like to invite a former staff member of the unit who left to go and pursue her studies to do a Masters of Development Practice. Emily McConaughey plans to work in community development in the southeast corner. She will also continue her writing and working for Country, and aims to get back into stand-up comedy, which she has done a couple of times for us at some staff meetings. But please welcome, probably not appropriate for this audience, but please welcome Emily to the stage. Next, we have another student graduating from the Doctor of Medicine program, Samantha O'Connor. And Samantha, next year, will be working as an intern at Redcliffe Hospital, and although it's not in the notes, hopes to get through that intern program as well. So, congratulations. Next, we have Aiden Pearson. Aiden is graduating from the Bachelor of Agribusiness and Bachelor of Applied Science. Aiden is starting a graduate program with the Department of Agriculture and Water Resources in February and is looking forward to the opportunities that will be on offer. Aiden's ultimate goal is to make significant contributions to the area of agriculture, influencing businesses and customers to adopt and operate in the most efficient and effective ways, focusing on sustainable practices for business and land management. He also aims to be actively involved in the diversity and inclusion of Indigenous Australians and LGBT plus groups and individuals within his community, with a particular focus on rural and regional Australia. Please welcome Aiden to the stage. Next we have Kelly Ray. Kelly is graduating with a Bachelor of Extended Psychology. She's an Aboriginal woman and plans to work in human resources and continue on to complete her honours next year. Please welcome Kelly to the stage. And last of all, we have Dion Wall, who's graduating with a graduate certificate in heritage management. Dion plans to finish off the Aurora internship at the National Native Title Tribunal and see where that leads. So best of luck with that. Please welcome Dion to the stage. So that concludes the presentations of the sashes and the gifts. When I met with Bronwyn last week, or a couple of weeks ago, we thought it'd be a good idea if we presented some awards as well. So we have the inaugural Sashing Ceremony and thought we'd have some awards to go with it. We came up with a few awards. There's one good one that stands out. And I'll ask recipients to come to the stage, similar process, accept the awards and a small gift and a certificate, have a photo. And I think it's also important to mention that we thought as a nice, I guess, transition into the workforce, it'd be good to attach a scholarship to it. So we've also attached a $1,000 scholarship to each award, so that got their attention. So, and again, hopefully that will help you transition from uni into the workforce. So the first award is the UQ Community Engagement Award. This is awarded to the student who has strong connections across the whole of UQ, so it's an internal award, be it with students or staff, and is actively engaged with the whole of the university community. The inaugural winner is Aminata Diop. She's an active member of Guru Barimpa and the first ever member, as I said before, of the South Pacific Islander Association, as well as the African Students Association. She has participated in uni games and works at the Student Centre, and the list goes on. She's a student ambassador, a volunteer mentor for Indigenous school leavers undertaking traineeships at UQ, and performed Torres Strait Islander dances at the NAIDOC Ball. And she's an all-rounder, obviously, so congratulations. The second award is along the same lines, but it's the Community Engagement Award, so much more broader than internal, so it's mostly external engagement and has strong connections and engagement with the broader Indigenous community. The inaugural winner of the Community Engagement Award is Annika David. Annika participates in going back to Torres Strait for Winds of Zenith Cultural Festival on Thursday Island, also working on the Growing Up in Queensland consultation on Horn Island in the Torres Strait, as well as working with Kurilpa Community Organisation in West End. Congratulations, Annika. Well done. The next award is the Postgraduate Award. This award is awarded to the outstanding student graduating from a postgraduate degree. The inaugural winner is a student by day and a stand-up comedian by night. Please welcome Emily McConaughey. The next award is Bronwyn's favourite. She named it. It's called the Brother Sister Award. So this award is presented to a student who was there for everyone else, particularly in the unit. Someone who's formed strong relationships, again, both inside and outside the unit, and with staff and students. I've been fortunate enough to get to know her over the last few years and see her journey. I wouldn't say unfortunately, but we aren't getting rid of her just yet. She'll be back in a couple of months. But the inaugural winner of the Brother Sister Award is Gabriella Ciolan. The last award is the Academic Award. This is awarded to the student with an outstanding academic achievement across the whole program. The inaugural winner has just completed, and it gives it away, or narrows it down, to a Bachelor of Physiotherapy honours. It's graduating with a first class honours and a GPA of 6.667. Needed a bit more time to get that 7. Further to this, he completed the semester with the Dean's Commendation for Academic Excellence. He also received a Dean's Commendation for Academic Excellence in Semester 2, 2017, Semester 1, 2017 and Semester 2, 2016. Please welcome Carl Francia to the stage.
Firstly, I'd like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the site in which we meet. They're keeping us safe and protecting us now. I would also like to acknowledge elders past, present and emerging. There's some in this room. Elders of our First Nations peoples and elders of our more recent arrivals, thank you. We are the beneficiaries of your struggles and labours, and we continue to struggle. Fellow graduates, congratulations, we made it, we survived. Our perseverance, hard work and sacrifice over the last few years have brought us together tonight to celebrate this milestone. We all took different paths here. Some of us came straight from high school. Some of us had a gap year or two. I had a gap decade. We'll wait for the laughter to cool down. I was not the best student at school, and my first attempts at university had stalled. It was only when I discovered an interest in physiotherapy that I was ready to recommit to study. In my late 20s, I had knee surgery and followed up with rehabilitation through the public health system. It was only then that I was exposed to physiotherapy for the first time as an adult. And a seed was planted and a small dream was nurtured from that day. Before then, I only thought there were doctors and nurses. And it's not like I was raised or grew up in rural or regional areas. I'm a Logan boy. But I didn't know there were doctors. I didn't know there were anything but doctors and nurses. So I admire the tireless work of Sid and his team with running the Inspire You program, showing our young people possible careers and pathways through UQ, helping plant seeds of hope and nurturing the dreams of our young people. It's my experience that this is powerful and this is transformational. So fellow graduates, on your behalf, I'd just like to thank the people that helped us on our journey here. Thank you to the academic staff of the university for guiding our learning, but we'll take it from here. Thank you to the staff of the ATSIS Student Centre for your advice, support, and also providing a space for students to work and connect with each other. Most importantly, to our loved ones, our family and friends, some of whom are here tonight. Thank you for your love and support. And in closing, I'd just like to personally thank my wife, Tracy, for her support and patience. We accomplished this together and we survived, and we are not divorced. It was close. But graduates, once again, congratulations and enjoy the rest of your evening.
That now concludes our formal proceedings for the evening. I'd like to once again congratulate all the graduates and the awardees. I'd also like to say a few thank yous over the last couple of weeks for organising the event. So firstly, to I guess the broader unit staff, but particularly Rachel and the student support team. There was obviously a big role getting together a lot of these notes, inviting the students, trying to get them here, plus organising the beautiful decorations. And as Peter said, it looks fantastic. So I'd like to thank that team for all their help over the last couple of weeks, or few weeks, or month. So thank you very much, Rachel and the team. I'd like to thank everyone for coming. You know, it wouldn't be a great event without everyone showing up, and we have support from staff within the unit and across the university. We have families here, we have the students, of course. So thank you for making this a wonderful evening. Couldn't have done it without you, that's for sure. To Peter, thank you for turning up and giving a great speech once again, and your support and ongoing support. So look forward to what we will and can achieve in the coming years. To Gaja, Kerry, thank you again for a beautiful welcome. I know it's been a long day with this morning's welcome and tonight, but thank you for coming along and also doing the welcome. To Bronwyn, thank you again for helping with the organisation of this and your ongoing support. And I've left the last one because her work over particularly the last couple of weeks, has been, I guess, outside of her role, and she's had a lot of late nights. And I'd like to, I guess, pay special tribute to Kath, who works in Bronwyn's office and has gone above and beyond. So thank you very much. And
It's fantastic to see this cohort of Aboriginal and Torres Strait students who are about to graduate from the University of Queensland, and the increasing number of students that are graduating. It's fantastic. I'm really proud that students are pushing themselves and inspiring each other, encouraging each other to go into different fields and to work through their studies, often with challenges and barriers, but also exuberation and happiness, and then to get to the point of graduation, right across a whole range of disciplines.
My name is Annika David and I'm a proud Kulkalgal Nations woman. I studied a Bachelor of Psychological Sciences at the University of Queensland and I've just graduated with my honours. I think with my degree I'm going to keep working my dual consulting role at Ernst & Young, and I'm considering taking up a PhD at the University of Queensland and investigating the impacts of equine assisted activities for disenfranchised youth.
When you're ready, Victoria Francia from the Saibai Kadal clan of the top western Torres Strait. I have just finished a Bachelor of Physiotherapy with honours.
Yep. And I'm Carl Francia, Vicky's big brother. I just studied a Bachelor of Physiotherapy also with honours, and I'm a Saibai Kadal saltwater crocodile man.
I think as well as like individual effort, it really was a group effort, so drawing and very collaborative. I think that speaks to us, both of us personally and as our cohort as a whole. It's a very collegial environment to work in, generally within the physiotherapy cohort.
Yeah. And I don't know how I achieved mine at the end of the day. Just single-mindedness and just hard work, and just treated uni like a job. You know, you go do your work, and at the end you come home to your family. Yeah, we're a very close family. Vicky and I particularly are very similar, and that's great for collaboration. But it also means that we can have some great, strong discussions as well. But we come out at the end, we survived stronger as a family. And yeah, love you, sis. Anybody have a dream? But that's not enough. Set a goal. You know, set a long-term goal, and then you set those short-term goals day by day, and you know what to do every day. Every day you do what you have to do, knowing that you're moving closer and closer to that long-term goal. That's it.
I think drawing from mentors, whether that be Indigenous or non-Indigenous within your field, and just broadly as well, so you can bounce ideas off them and get that support and encouragement you need and motivation you need from mentors.
My name's Emily McConaughey. I'm a Waka Waka Gubby Gubby woman. I studied a Masters of Development Practice, majoring in community development. Yeah. I'm really excited to go back to grassroots community development. I'm interested in policy and a lot of the macro sort of aspects of development, but I love working with people in small groups, and I love working in popular education type settings.
So my name's Cheryl Mortimer. Excuse me, my great-grandmother was taken away from her people, the Gugugimitha, Gugugilanji people up near Cooktown, and I studied Graduate Diploma of Education.
So my name is Lizzie Mortimer, and I'm obviously from the same mob as my mother, and I studied a Bachelor of Pharmaceutical and Therapeutic Sciences.
So currently I'm working for the Department of Education in a Specialist Behaviour Unit, and hopefully I'm looking at doing my MPhil mid-year, looking at the relationship between brain development and behaviour.
And next year I'm going on to study the Doctor of Medicine at UQ in January, so that is my plan for the future.
I think in our family we've always valued education, and we know Vice-Chancellor Peter Hoy mentioned that education is something that never can be taken away from you, and that really resonated with me. That was something that I was taught, and hopefully
it's a really strong value in our family, and this is Mum's third degree, so just ended up we were graduating together, which was fantastic.